Last year, Apple began telling the world that the iPad Pro could actually be a suitable replacement for a personal computer. The company has even put out adverts showing people throwing all the stuff off their desks and just living with an iPad Pro. But that wasn't really true until the launch of iOS 11 back in September, because iOS 11 cribbed several key features from Mac OS, Apple's desktop operating system, including a dock and tab switching, and it only makes sense now to see whether the iPad Pro has matured enough for it to become a real PC replacement, which is why I've spent the last couple of weeks slavishly working away on an iPad Pro to see whether it's really up to the task. The answer, like so many things, is kind of. You see, the iPad has always had potential, but it's taken Apple a little bit of time to draw that out. And in one way, these iPads feel very similar to the ones that made their debut in 2010, but it's the small refinements along the way that really make a difference. And in fact, the iPad Pro kind of ruins you for the computer that you're already using, be it the Apple Pencil input or the True Tone display. And the other great thing about it is that because it's just a window or a frame onto your work, it kind of gets out of the way and you kind of forget that it's there. The other great thing about it, of course, is that it's so light and thin and comfortable to carry around, you sling it in a rucksack and you forget that it's there. Then there's the fact that the smart keyboard not only pairs seamlessly with the iPad Pro, but works beautifully as well. Now, at first blush, it looks ugly, cheap, and rubbery, but the truth is, as soon as you get your fingers on it, you realize that there's great travel and it's really comfortable, despite its tiny size. And I've already written several thousand-word articles on this thing as proof. Now, the iPad's other big strength is actually in the fact that it kind of makes you more productive. Because you can't be distracted by too many other windows, it really helps you to focus down on one or two very important things. And whilst Apple has spent a lot of time talking about how important multitasking is, a lot of the time you just don't want to, because you kind of resent losing a portion of that 10.5 or 12.9 inch screen to a second app, especially when you can just switch between two so easily. iOS 11's combination of keyboard shortcuts and gestures feel very natural. It's not as jarring going from the keyboard to the screen and back again as it is on other operating systems. But there are drawbacks, including the fact that iOS 11 still does not give you access to the iPad's file system. Now, there is an app called Files. Unfortunately, all it does is enables you to push documents from cloud sharing services a little bit easier. So when you want to grab a file from Google Drive, you can just throw it into Files and pull it straight back out again. Plus, this is an Apple device, so you can't charge your smartphone when you're on the road, and if you want to do anything beyond connect an Apple Pencil, you're going to be living the dongle life. Even if you want to read DSLR images for editing, you're going to have to spend more money on an SD card reader. The final sticking point is the price, because when you throw in the smart keyboard, which arguably you need to do because that's really when the iPad Pro becomes useful, in either size, you're both looking at the better part of $1,000, which is proper grown-up PC money. Now, that hurts when the first iPad retailed for just $499, and yes, you're getting a whole lot more computer, but it still hurts when you feel like you're paying twice as much. Now, if you've got the cash and you don't mind losing some of the versatility that you would get from a PC, then yeah, give the iPad Pro a try, because it does do very many things very well. But on a technical level, it's not a like-for-like replacement for a personal computer, because you have to do so many things Apple's way and you are forced to stay in your lane almost at all times. And that's probably the fundamental contradiction at the heart of the iPad Pro, because it's a professional machine that doesn't trust you to be professional. It is nice if you're prepared to accept its limitations, but there are limitations.